Jermaine, obviously the highs of Saturday. We've come on a Tuesday night, the 31st of January. A slight different game this evening. So what was the game plan for tonight?
We tried to get an extra body in midfield, and we wanted to go high energy. To be totally honest, we had a few players out, 3 or 4. That's just where it's at, and that probably dictated the shape that we started with. We knew they were good with their rotations. We knew they could hurt us that way. We tried to, nullify that and get 2 up top on the pitch. And listen, to be fair, first I think you got to congratulate Jersey. I think they played very well today. We probably weren't quite at it. We couldn't quite get settled, but it's a moment, isn't it? And goals change games. And then from there onwards, you're sort of just trying to get in at half time, and then we tweaked it. Got ourselves in and around the game again. Then I think the sending off probably changed the complexion of the game slightly.
Yeah, and I think from sort of early stages in that first half, you could probably see that Jersey were going to be trying to play that possession game, weren't they? Trying to keep a lot of the ball, want to see a lot of ball. It seemed at times perhaps they were trying to play that sort of counter-attacking football. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, we, again, they're going to come and probably dominate the ball. And we wanted to look to counter-press that, the thinking between probably putting Jack Arnold was that to hit them on the counter and maybe go in behind. And we had some half chances in terms of trying to get in behind, but it never quite landed for us. And like I said, their rotations were really good. I think we struggled with that at times. We were a little bit young out there, and at times maybe naive. We tried to slow it down at times, but listen, they had a lot of the ball, and we were happy with that. It's just obviously, that moment when they've obviously got one. I think we had a 5-10 minute spell after that where the turnovers were too much and it was just like, again, like I said, it's probably a bit naive at times.
And of course, a slightly different back four lineup to what we had on Saturday. Do you think that may have played a role in a way, or obviously we know it needs kind of non-league football squad depth is really important, and obviously giving lots of rotation. We saw lots of exciting opportunities for lots of young players. So do you think there's been quite a few lessons learned today?
Yeah, and I just said to the boys in there, first they've been brilliant. They've been brilliant in the group, and I think boys have come in and deserved their opportunity. Again, our hand was slightly forced to bring in 1 or 2 in. I think Gorman's coming; he's not had much minutes. And I think he was doing well before. Obviously, he struggled, and we knew that. George was, MOM for us without speaking about players that weren't involved too much. He would have been involved tonight. But listen, this is where we're at sometimes, and you got to shuffle the pack, and it's a chance for someone else to step in. Like I said, I think for as well as they did, we stood up to them when we needed to. It's just like I said, I think the moments, two defining moments, probably changed it. I won't really talk about the penalty, but I think before that it was just them 2 moments. And against these lot, you want to stay in the game, and that was the game plan: stay in the game. I think we'd potentially look to hurt them on a set piece, and we looked quite dangerous for them. But again, it weren't to be.
Yeah, and I think that first goal, wasn't it? So doing the job was being done, wasn't it? Trying to stay with them for as long as possible. But obviously that first goal did come in, and obviously it fell to Bickley, the league's top goal scorer, with now 23 goals. It's kind of quite challenging in a way, isn't it, to try and deal with somebody who's perhaps got an eye for goal like that.
Yeah, he's a man in form. We knew he needed looking after. But that having been said, I don't think. Listen, that's why he's on a bit of form. He's had that moment. He's had that chance. He hasn't had much, but when he did get it, to be fair, he's taken it. And like I said, their patterns. We struggle to deal with their patterns at times. Like I said, we tried to get an extra body in there, but again, we probably missed 1 or 2 senior players. Again, we were probably a little bit naive. I think them feeding it into Bickley, they probably fed it into a little bit too much for my liking. But again, listen. The boys have been brilliant, and again I've just reminded them in there, as you've told me, coming into this month, we had 3 wins and lost the Jersey Bulls. It's important we pick ourselves up and already looking at the Reading game.
Absolutely, and I think we talked about it, didn't we, in our post-match at Hawley, where we talked about this was a nice opportunity to see where we were as a squad, and this was almost like a free hit, wasn't it? 3rd place. Obviously, we're looking to climb the leagues. Obviously, perhaps had a bit of frustrating start to the season. Mm-hmm. Where would you say that sort of reflection, that sort of report, would you say, from what you've seen tonight? There's quite a few positives you can take from the game?
Yeah, listen, we stood up. I think, the attitude of the boys to the sending off. I think, you know, if you like 1-0, I still fancied us to get something out of the game. We had 1 or 2 half chances again from the set pieces, and you know, like I said, it's just a little bit frustrating because obviously once, you know, with the penalty decision, which I'll have to look back on. But again, listen, that's just obviously killed it and not the wind out ourselves. And I said the boys have been working so hard. They moved the ball very, very well. The boys put everything out in on Saturday. I'm asking them to give me another shift on the Tuesday night, you know, to the side that are going to have majority of the ball. So yeah, again, it's one that, you know, it's gone now. We can move on. But again, I think we've been brilliant.
Absolutely. So there's, as you've mentioned, lots of football on its way. What sort of the mood of yourself and your team around you sort of preparing for those games? Is it going to be a lot of shuffling the pack, or is it going to be trying to keep as consistent team as possible?
You want to name as consistent team as possible. I think that's the key. It's my job to keep players happy, and you know, boys had the opportunity today, and we'll be better for it. You know, will there be a lot of? That's where we want to be. Let's have it right. Where Jersey balls are, that's the level, and we will kick on. We will kick on. Like I said, it's, you know, I'll have to see, you know, where we're at in terms of bumps and bruises. Obviously, you know, we've had a suspension, and I'd like to think we'll have 1 or 2 back for the Red Hill game. But you know, we've got a good squad which we're building to sort of deal with situations like that. And you know, again, I'm proud of the boys and the team we put out. We thought we could get something out of the game today.
And then, you know what my final question is going to be? Your man of the match this evening.
I think Ollie was brilliant. I think Ollie at left back, I think he's really kicked on. I think he showed why, you know, and what we're about. He's kicking on. Again, he'll do well, and I think he's got a future ahead of him. Like I like to mention, obviously, like you say, last week it was George, and George was on the bench for the first team tonight. And you know, it's difficult because you want them involved in every game, but just like Ollie, who, again, I'll give the man of the match today, you know, we want them to do well for their football clubs, and there's a pathway there, and I have to honour that because, you know, that's the pull as well. We want to develop players, but we want to build what we want to build to kick on as well. But I think we've got a good balance at the minute.
Jermaine, all the best at Red Hill on Saturday. Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, thank you.